So let's head to language preservation. So in the IP struggles of language preservation, we mainly have the problem of language loss. It refers to societal or individual loss in the use or in the ability to use the language, implying that another language is replacing it in this. So we had there in the study we use. So what are the main causes? What are the main causes for it? The main causes for it are usually previous migration waves in the province, discrimination towards those who speak it, societal and financial, or basically lawful. Yeah, and external pressures from dominant cultures in society. So let's head to the study or the paper, research paper in that I would use as an example. So in this paper, it is the Bukidnon and Talanding youths unable to speak Bilukid. So the problems mentioned in the study are that migration waves led to intercultural marriages in the IP group, which would lead them to have Cebuano Bisaya using Cebuano Bisaya, the lingua franca of the province, as their main language, and that the parents themselves who are in these intercultural marriages have stopped transmitting the language to the newer generations in favor of Cebuano Bisaya, and no existing programs for support in revitalizing the IP group's language until recently, until this exact paper was what they needed, but no, it is adequate. It's not enough. We need to do more of this in order for the revitalization, or basically have a lot of more IP group speaking Binukid in this example. So what were the migration waves leading to intercultural marriages in Kidnon? So but first we need to know where, what and where Bicol is. So Bicol is geographically located at the center of Mindanao. As you look at the map, and it is the haven of multicultural. Since it is the center, it's the haven of multicultural, multilingual, and multifaceted groups of individuals, because migrants from the 50s and 60s, during the time of Elpidio Crino and Ramon Magsaysay, were assisted to migrate to to Mindanao in order to reduce population in the war-torn cities. So and to seek new opportunities in the form of agri revolution or green revolution were happening in America at the same time. So because migrants from the islands of Luzon, Visayas, area, yeah, so migration waves. So how it happened? So we should start the start of Bukidnon. So Bukidnon became full province in 1914 under the American occupation. The area had majority non-Christian population. Hence, it was a special province, and it remained under American control, since no Christian leader at the time would be loyal enough to the Americans that would be enough to manage the region or province. And during that time, Americans initiated a flourishing cattle industry. This is pre-war, by the way, pre-war. So they had a cattle industry before the war, which employed a number of Bukidnon men or natives as cowboys. Cowboy. They also should I do the accent? No. They also opened a pineapple plantation, which is still involved in the new cash economy we have today. We still have these dole plantations which would have dole export pineapples to other countries. So during the World War II, as I said earlier, so during World War II, this is World War II na, let's say, um, guerrillas and Japanese soldiers looking for protein source, they targeted these ranchers of the cattle industry in order to sustain themselves throughout the war, or the years of guerrilla fighting. And after the war, it left the land open for thousands of farmers. As I said earlier, during the time of Carino and Magsaysay, in the 60s and 50s and 60s, that were assisted by the government in order to move here to work as farmers, or basically revitalize the economy in the city and the downtown cities of Bukidnon province or municipalities. It raised the province population in 1948 from 68,000 to more than double to 194,368 in 1960, to more than double again in the next 10 years in 1970, which would have 44,762. And during this time of rapid growth, the Benukid speaking population kept up with the population change, and they still had a lot of Benukid speaking individuals in the IP groups, though with discrimination, of course. So let's move on to Cebuano Bisaybe in the lingua franca of the province. So as I said earlier, the migrations had a lot of people from Visayas, or especially Cebu, Bohol, having mainly Cebuano speakers, or Samar and Leyte. It would have Cebuano or Binasay have being the lingua franca in the non-Hiligaynon dominated Uh, yeah, so they had Bisaya. So I would say when we say non-Hiligaynon dominated neighboring provinces, we could say Zamboanga, Agusan del Sur, Davao, Davao Oriental, Davao de Oro. Yeah, Davao de Oro. It's Davao Oriental at the time. Yeah, Davao de Oro. Then Davao Occidental. Those are the non-Hiligaynon speaking. So they had Cebuano as their main Lingua. Since you have a lot of these fishermen, are no, you had a lot of these center city living individuals who migrated from the north and from the North Luzon of Ilocos, which are farmers, basically mainly farmers, and Visayans migrating to the area. You would have in the cities. You have in the cities a lot of people speaking Cebuano as the common language, which would in turn develop the cities. We would have make the government in the area develop schools and commerce, markets and workplaces such as workplaces, and in the far-flung places where the indigenous people commonly live, they would. So now the trend is reversed. Binukid would be only used as secondary language, like the home language, that people would use when they work in the city. So when they work in the city, they use Filipino English or Filipino English or Bisaya as their main languages. Then when they go back home during celebrations, they would only speak Binukid towards the elders and the secondary. This would in turn, as I mentioned earlier, that parents have stopped transmitting the language to their young ones. And that's all for my report. Let's head to my other groupmate.